Hi, today I'm gonna have a look at the Fringer EF-NZ II. It is an adapter that allows you to mount Canon EF lenses on the Nikon Z system, while keeping features like fast detection autofocus and optical stabilization. So as a disclaimer, I did buy this adapter and Fringer is not involved at all in the making of this video. Okay, so for the build quality, I think this thing is built like a tank. It's made entirely out of metal. The black paint is very nice, but might scratch easily. I can show you my NF-FX2 adapter after a month of use. The adapter is weather sealed and features a visible gasket near the Z mount. The interior is made of matte black plastic and you can spot some velvet at the bottom near the Z mount, probably to remove any unwanted light bounce. The locking mechanism is sturdy and seems to be robust, which is nice. On the side, it features a USB Type-B port, probably for future firmware updates. Some other Fringer adapters use a USB Type-C. Fringer probably wanted to save some production costs here. This adapter costs around 299 USD. This is not cheap by any means for an adapter like that, and I hope the performances are as good as the build quality. So for the weight, it's 163 grams. You don't really feel it when it's attached to a camera, but it is noticeably heavier than the FTZ2 adapter, which is 125 grams. It is also good to know that Canon EF lenses tend to be on the heavy side, so the adapter doesn't help with that. For example, if you adapt the Canon EF-100-400 version 2 on the Nikon Z8, we are talking about a 2.7 kg combo, heavily balanced toward the front of the lens. And that makes things difficult for tracking subjects, like birds. But if you only adapt prime lenses or more lighter stuff, you're gonna be good. Okay, so for optical stabilization, also called IS on Canon lenses, and IBIS, which is in body stabilization, so Fringer advertised that it supports IBIS and IS, but not together. So I don't know what it means, but you probably have to choose between using the lens stabilization and locking your IBIS, or using IBIS and locking your lens stabilization, just turning it off. If you choose to activate IBIS and IS together, the image will start to jiggle and it will be extremely unstable. This is like, you cannot shoot anything with that. It introduces some blurry results and it doesn't work at all. So I can show you an example using my 100-400 version 2 with the stabilization turned on the lens. And now turned off. And you can see how stable the footage becomes when the lens stabilization is turned off. So my advice here is to keep the lens stabilization off all the time and only rely on IBIS to get a more stable footage. Okay, now for autofocus, Fringer advertised performances similar to the F2Z adapter. On static subject, the autofocus is fast and snappy, no jitter, and it doesn't seem to be lost at all. There is no pulsing or pumping effect in continuous mode, and the lens switches from foreground to background very quickly. Overall, it's very responsive and works as good as a F2Z adapter lens. I feel like it's a very good performance here, and I was quite surprised by the fluidity of the autofocus. Just to be picky, I noticed some hesitation when switching focus to a very blurry subject or from background to minimum focus distance. It doesn't happen every time and you don't always do that kind of focus pulls anyway, but it's good to know that sometimes it may happen. Okay, so for this footage I was using the Canon EF-70-200 f4 and the 100-400 version 2. I didn't notice any difference by using them on EOS R system or on the Nikon Z mount, which is very nice. I also tried to track some bumblebees, but this was not an easy task as the whole setup with Atomos recorder is 3.5 kilograms it starts to get tricky to just track tiny subjects. And yeah, after like 10 minutes, you start to feel it in your arms. So I do not recommend to like film anything with that. It's like you don't have nzII, and yeah, it's kind of hard. But I was still quite surprised by the result. Focus is on the point and the images look very sharp, even for that bird hiding in the trees. Like, this is quite a tricky scene and the camera managed to track it fairly well. So yeah, I appreciate how sharp these images are. I managed to capture a flying wood duck just to check how good the tracking is on a fast-moving subject, and the camera seems to track it with ease, and I checked the pictures and they look sharp. So this is a very, very good performance here, but you can notice how I'm shaking because of the combo weight of 3.5 kilograms, and it feels like quite unbalanced, so it's very hard to track something and be stable. On more static subjects like this stellar J, like the autofocus managed to catch his head and follow quite easily. And yeah, look how sharp the image is. It looks honestly very good. This is straight from the camera, no edit at all. I really love what's happening here. Same on a squirrel. Like, it tracked the A's, and even if the box is jiggling, the focus is on point, and yeah, I can let you appreciate the sharpness here. On this blue heron, I tried to play with the autofocus, and it managed to switch seamlessly between the foreground and the background. Like, I really feel like it's like a native lens, but heavier. So the IS on the lens is still off, and yeah, you can see how like stable the footage is just with the IBIS in the Z8. I feel like this image looks beautiful. It's very sharp, wide open, direct sunlight, and yeah, I really love the Nikon colors here. Okay, to conclude, I think it is an expensive tool, but it has the quality to be very well built, and the wither sealing is a bonus for peace of mind. The autofocus performance is excellent and matches what Fringer claims, so I think this is the most important. The main bad point is the IS not working with IBIS and making things worse if turned on. You basically have to turn it off to get something usable. It's a bad point, but I don't think it kills the product. A lot of EF lenses doesn't have IS and will work amazingly well with this adapter. I would say if you have EF lenses and recently switched to a Nikon Z camera, this is a good tool to have in your bag. I recommend this product and I hope this review has been useful to you.